Hello, my loves! Welcome back! And if you are new here, welcome to this channel! I am so happy you found this reading today because this one came through very differently from what I usually experience when I sit down with this energy. Thank you! Genuinely, thank you for your kind words in the comments, your likes, your support. It means more than you know. Okay, let us get into this because he has a lot to say today and I do not want to keep you waiting. So as always, we are going to start by looking at what kind of man has come through in this energy. Then we will look at what is sitting between you two right now. And then we go directly into his words for you. What he would say to you if he could say it all. Right now. With no filter. Let us begin. Okay, so the very first thing I am picking up on when I look at his energy is that this man is at a crossroads. A real one. Not a small everyday decision, something significant, something where the road he chooses is actually going to shape what the rest of his life looks like. And he knows it. That weight is sitting on him right now in a very palpable way. What is also coming through is that he has support around him that he is only just beginning to notice, like something bigger than him is trying to get his attention, sending him signs. And for a man who has spent most of his life being very practical, very focused on the material world, on his career and his status and his finances, this is unfamiliar territory. He is not used to looking up from what he is building to ask why he is building it. But that is exactly what is happening to him right now. He is someone who is clever. Very clever. Someone who knows how to read situations and people. Not easily fooled. And yes, he has used that intelligence in ways that were not always clean. There have been manipulations, games, moments where he managed people and situations for his own benefit rather than out of genuine care. He is aware of this, more aware of it now than he has ever been. What is coming through very strongly is that this man has been losing himself in the pursuit of things that look impressive from the outside but feel hollow on the inside. Status, control, the approval of the world around him, and for a long time, that was enough. He built his identity around being the one who has it together, the one who succeeds, the one people look up to. But right now, none of that is bringing him what it used to bring him. The crown feels heavy, the throne feels empty, and somewhere underneath all of that achievement is a man who genuinely does not know who he is anymore outside of what he has accomplished. And a lot of that unraveling is connected to you. Right here before we go any further, I want to know something. Has he actually said any of this to you yet? Any of it. In any form. A message that felt heavier than it looked. A moment where something slipped through that he probably did not mean to show you. Drop a comment and tell me, because the gap between what he is carrying privately and what he has actually expressed to you directly is something I want to understand for this collective. Write it below. Your story matters in this space, and to anyone brand new here watching this tonight, this is what this channel is. Real, deep, every single time. Subscribe now. You belong here. And before we look at what is between you, I want to bring something through that spirit is pressing on me to say very specifically. Because the crossroads this man is standing at right now, it did not come out of nowhere. And it is not separate from you the way he might want to tell himself it is. Your guides are showing me that you were placed in his life at a very deliberate moment. Not randomly, not coincidentally, but precisely at the point where something in him needed to be cracked open in order for the real version of him to have any chance of emerging. And you did that. Simply by being who you are, by loving the way you love, by refusing to accept less than what was real, you became the thing that started this entire unraveling. And here is what Spirit wants you to understand about that. The discomfort he is in right now, the lostness, the hollowness of the life he has been performing, none of that would have surfaced the way it has without you. You were the mirror. The one that showed him the gap between who he has been presenting himself as and who he actually is underneath all of it. That is not a small thing. That is actually one of the most significant things one person can do for another. And he is only beginning to understand that what felt like losing you was actually the beginning of finding himself. Those two things happening together are not a coincidence. They are connected, deeply and deliberately connected. Let me look at what is sitting in the space between you, because this matters for understanding everything he wants to say. What I am seeing is that you have not fully let go of each other. Not really. Even if things look finished from the outside, even if there is distance or silence between you right now, the energetic connection is still very much alive. You both feel it. You both know it, even if neither of you is saying it out loud. There was disappointment at some point. Real disappointment. Something did not go the way it was supposed to. Maybe he did not show up the way you needed him to. Maybe his choices created a pain that you had to sit with alone. And that disappointment left a mark on both of you that has not fully healed. What is also coming through is that you have been doing your own work through this. Growing, rebuilding, you found your footing again even when losing it felt devastating. And there is something in your energy now that is quieter and more whole than it was before. Like you stopped waiting for him to determine your peace and started finding it yourself. He sees that. Even from a distance, he can feel that you have changed, that you are moving forward, and it is doing something to him that he did not expect. For some of you, there is a third factor, something that stands between a clear path forward. For some, this is another person. For others, it is circumstances, obligations, distance, situations that make things complicated. Whatever form it takes, this third factor is part of what has kept things in this painful suspended place. What is also coming through is that both of you carry pride. Strong pride. And at certain moments, that pride was what kept the bridge from being built. Both of you waiting for the other to move first. Both of you unwilling to be the one who softened first. And in that standoff time passed. Silence grew. And here you are. But the feeling between you has not gone quiet even when everything else did. And I want to paint something very specific here because Spirit is showing me his private moments in a way I think you need to see clearly rather than just hear described. When everything around him goes quiet, when the performance of having it together is no longer required, when it is just him and the honest version of his own interior world, there is a particular quality that comes over him. A heaviness that is not quite grief and not quite longing, but sits somewhere between both of those things. And at the center of that heaviness is you, not as an idea, not as a concept, as a very specific person with a very specific energy that he cannot replicate or replace no matter what he tries. He goes back to certain moments, not the dramatic ones necessarily, the quiet ones. The ones that happened in ordinary spaces where something real passed between you that neither of you fully named in the moment. He turns those moments over, looks at them from different angles, wonders what he missed while he was too busy managing instead of just being present. And there is something he does in those quiet moments that he has not told anyone about. He talks to you, not literally, but in his head he has full conversations with you, says things he never said out loud. Imagines how you would respond, what your face would do, what you would say back to him. And in those imagined conversations, he is always more honest than he ever managed to be in the real ones. And the version of himself that shows up in those conversations is the version he is slowly working toward becoming in real life. Okay, this is what Spirit is pressing most urgently, and I want to bring it through as clearly as it came to me. These are his words. As close as I can get to what he would say if he could say everything right now. He says you won, and he means that with real respect, not bitterness. He sees that you found your balance, that you rebuilt yourself after whatever happened between you, that you are out there living and moving and being exactly who you are. And even though part of him aches at the distance, another part of him is genuinely in awe of you. He says, nobody does to me what you do. Not the women before you, not anyone around him now. Something about being in your energy, even just thinking about your energy, does something to him that he has never been able to fully explain or replicate anywhere else. The feelings you bring out of him are not feelings he was looking for. They arrived without his permission and they have not left. He says you taught me something. And this one he says quietly, almost like an admission that costs him something to make. Because this is a man who is used to being the one who knows things, the one with the answers, and you showed him something about himself that he had been avoiding, something uncomfortable and true. And at first, he pushed back against it, was maybe even angry about it. But now he understands that what you showed him was real, and he is grateful for it even if he never said so. He says, "I miss you," not in a casual way, in the specific way of someone who misses something they cannot replace. He misses details, the way you talked, the way you thought about things, the way being around you made him feel like a fuller version of himself rather than the performing version he shows the rest of the world. He says, "I think about you constantly." He does not know what your life looks like right now, does not know if you are happy, if you have moved on, if you even think about him at all. And not knowing is its own kind of pain. He fills in the blanks sometimes. Imagines you living your life maybe with someone else, maybe completely fine without him. And even imagining that hurts him more than he expected it to. He says, "I remember what you said to me." Specific things. Words you said that he carried with him even after you were no longer close. Truths you spoke to him that he turned over and over in his mind until he finally understood what you meant. You were honest with him in ways that other people in his life had not been. And that honesty stayed. Let me go deeper into what he is sharing because there is more here and it is important. He says, "I am not okay." And this is a man who almost never says that, who would rather project capability and composure than let anyone see him struggling. But in these words, in this private, honest place, he is saying it. He is not okay. He feels lost in a way that is unfamiliar and frightening, like he has been living according to a map that suddenly stopped making sense and he does not know how to find his way without it. He says, "I started praying," or asking, or reaching towards something bigger than himself for help with this. Again, this is not characteristic of who he has been. He has always been the one with the plan, the strategy, the next move. And now he is in a place where he has run out of plans and is genuinely asking the universe to help him find his way through. He says, "I understand now that I was a taker." Not in every way, but in the ways that mattered most. He took your patience, your grace, your willingness to see good in him even when he was not showing you his best. He received all of that and did not match it. And he knows that. It sits in him as a specific kind of regret that does not soften with time. He says, "You were never trying to hurt me." Even in the moments where things got hard, even in the moments where the honesty between you was painful, he understands now that you were not coming from a place of wanting to wound him. You were just being real. And his ego could not handle that at the time. But he understands it now. He says, "I felt like a boy around you." Not in a diminishing way. In the way that someone who has built a lot of armor suddenly finds a person in front of them who can see straight through it. And the vulnerability of being seen like that made him want to run and stay at the same time. He ran. And now he is standing somewhere on the other side of that choice, wishing he had stayed. This came through very specifically, and I want to share it exactly as it landed. He is hoping that it is not too late. That word keeps coming through. Too late. He wonders if you have moved so far ahead that what was between you is something you have left completely behind. He watches the version of you that he can see however small a window that is, and he sees someone who looks like she is doing fine. And he is proud of you for that genuinely, and also terrified that it means you do not need him anymore. He is afraid of your rejection. This is a man whose pride is significant, who is not used to reaching and being turned away, and the thought of coming to you honestly, with everything he feels, and having you look at him without interest or without space for him, that possibility stops him every time he gets close to doing something about this. He is also afraid of his own feelings, because what he feels for you does not fit neatly into the kind of life he has been building. It asks things of him. It requires him to be different than who he has been, more honest, more present, more willing to give without calculating the return. And that version of himself is still being built. He is not there yet. But he says he is working toward it, that something in him is clearing. Slowly, like a fog that has been there so long, he stopped noticing it, and now it is finally beginning to lift. And as it lifts, he can see things more clearly, including what you meant to him. including what he lost, including what kind of man he wants to be on the other side of all of this. And right here I have to stop, because he just said something in this reading that I feel landed somewhere very specific for somebody watching. Not everything, one specific thing. And I want to know which one it was. Go to the comments right now and tell me which of his words hit you the hardest. Was it "you won"? Was it "I miss you"? Was it "do not forget me"? Write it below, because I read every single comment and I genuinely want to know which one reached you. And if you are new here and this is your first time finding this channel, please subscribe right now. Because this is what we do here. We go all the way in, every single time. And before we get to his final words, I want to speak to something Spirit is showing me about what is actually moving in him right now. Because I do not want to leave you only with the fear and the hoping. There is genuine movement happening beneath the surface of this man. Something is clearing. I keep getting that word clearing. Like something that has been clouding his vision, clouding his ability to see himself clearly and to act from a real place rather than a strategic one that cloudiness is beginning to lift. And as it lifts, the things that matter are becoming more visible to him, more urgent, more impossible to keep postponing. Spirit is showing me a specific kind of internal shift that happens in people when they have been in pain long enough, when the weight of unexpressed truth becomes heavier than the fear of expressing it. He is approaching that point. Where holding all of this in the feelings, the regret, the realizations, costs more than letting it out would. And what comes out when someone reaches that point is not the polished, managed version of themselves. It is the raw, honest one. The one that does not calculate before it speaks. The one that finally just says the real thing because it has run out of reasons not to. That version of him is getting ready to emerge. Not completely, not all at once, but in ways that are going to be visible and unmistakable when they begin to surface. Pay attention to the small things, the unexpected reach, the message that seems casual but carries something much heavier underneath it. Those are the signs that this shift is already in motion. Let me close out his words with what he holds most privately, because this is the truest part of what came through. He says, "You are my light." You are the version of something real that he keeps orienting toward even when he does not have the words for why. When everything in his life feels gray and heavy and purposeless, the thought of you is the thing that still has color, still has warmth, still feels like something worth moving toward. He says, "Only near you do I feel like myself." The real version. The one that has nothing to prove and nowhere to perform. And that is the rarest thing. He has a whole life full of people who know his name and know his reputation and respond to the surface of him. You were the one who got past the surface. And he does not know how to stop wanting that. He says, "I want to find my way back to you." Not the complicated version, just to you. And he is working on clearing whatever needs to be cleared to make that possible, whether that is his fear or his circumstances or the version of himself that is not yet ready to fully show up. He is working on it. He says, "Do not forget me," not because he thinks you are obligated to hold space for him, but because the thought of being completely forgotten by the one person who actually knew him is something he cannot sit with quietly. And finally, he says thank you. For being honest with him when honesty was hard. For showing him something about love that he had never understood before. For being exactly who you are without apology, even when he was not ready to fully receive it. You changed something in him. Something real. Something permanent. And he wanted you to know that even if he has not found the way to say it directly yet. And before I close his words, I want to land somewhere that is entirely about you, because this reading has been his voice, his feelings, his realizations, and I think it is important to end somewhere that honors what you have been carrying through all of this, because you did not arrive at this moment without cost. Whatever has passed between you, whatever the distance has felt like, whatever the silence has asked of you, you have been carrying something real. And you have been carrying it with more grace than you have probably given yourself credit for. Spirit is showing me your energy right now, and what I see is someone who has done significant work on herself through this season. Someone who found her footing when losing it was a real possibility. Someone who chose her own peace and her own growth, even when the easier thing would have been to collapse back into something familiar and comfortable. And what is coming for you as a result of that work is not nothing. Spirit is showing me an opening, not a small one. A genuine expansion in the quality of what finds you. Connections that actually meet you at the level you are at now rather than the level you were at before. A quality of love and recognition that finally matches the depth you have always been capable of giving. Whether that comes through this man stepping fully into who he needs to be, or through something entirely new arriving that was always more aligned with who you are, what is coming has been earned. By you. Through everything you chose not to collapse into. And it is on its way. Take that with you today, loves. Drop a comment and tell me what part of this hit you tonight. I read every single one, and it truly means everything to hear from you. Hit the like button before you go, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care of yourselves. Bye!